Okie dokie, folks. Let's check out the STEALTHO Constructor File Organizer, and this one's in black. We get a setup guide wrapped in some fancy paper. Here's the first piece of it here. Let's just get a quick look at it. Nice kind of shiny matte plastic right there, all in black. Feels tough, but it does have a little bit of flexibility to it. Nice and rigid. Got a little lip down here too to set it up. Looks like it's got some tabs on it right here. So let's check it out in total. Got another one, a third one. Looks like two more of them. And the last piece, it looks like right here, it's gonna be the base to it. So I'll show you how to set it up now, but first impressions is, it's pretty strong, and let's get some size measurements on it here. I also found a couple pieces of hardware here. 2 screws and 2 wall mounts. And before we get the size measurements, I did find some additional components right down here inside of this piece. So you just kind of pinch these little pieces right here, and out will pop these 2 little hooks. There's one right there, and then another one pops out. These are used for hanging it over doors, I believe. So let's take a look at the base here. You'll see that it's approximately 13 3/4 of an inch across. It looks to be about 10.5 inches in this direction. And if I set it down flat on the table like this, then it looks to be just under 3.5 inches tall at its tallest point right here. And the front edge of it right here stands at almost exactly 1 inch tall. So there's multiple ways to set this up, and if you want to just have it on your desk, it's going to be really easy. These slots right here, the bottom of them easily drops into these racks right here. So watch how easy these can drop in, just like this. And if you ever want to, you can just pull them out as well. So you can just set up, for example, this is number 1 right here. So I'm going to put that one in front. And then here's number 2. So I'll easily be able to drop that into the rack behind that one. And I can do that so on until they're all stacked up. And you can see how quickly I do that here. It takes no time at all to set up. And now when I have it set up like this, at its tallest point in the back over here, it stands at about 11 1/4 of an inch. And that cascades down in the front to this number 1 here, standing at about 9.5 inches tall. And each of the gaps between the slots here, they are each 2 inches wide. Now I'll show you how to assemble it in the opposite direction. It's really easy. We can just take all these panels out. And then we're going to take this piece here and find the wide bottom of it and set it up like that so we can see it in this position here. And now instead of inserting this slot here, we're going to flip these over and we're going to find this lip back here, and that is what we're going to place into these slots here. And we will do that just like this. Now, once you get 3 of them on here, it's going to be a top-heavy unit, so make sure you're keeping a hand on it, otherwise it could fall over, and continue attaching all of those. And when you get them all together, you'll have a unit that will stand up like this, which at its tallest point right here, stands up at about 16 inches tall. And now we have 2 ways that we can install this. All we have to do is we come to the back of it right here, and you'll see this slot right here and this slot right here. We have 2 ways to attach this to things. The easier method is to use these door hooks here. We take this piece of the door hook right here and we hook it under this lip of this piece right here. So we'll just put this underneath and then hook up like that. And now that door hook should be able to grip onto it like that. And we will do that for both of them. There, number 2. And now you could take these clips right here and you could hang them over a door. However, I do think they're a little thin for most doors. Let me show you. For example, the widest that this gap gets right here is only about 1 1/4 of an inch there. But the doors in my house are 1 3/8 of an inch thick. So that's kind of a fail for me. But no worries, it's back to the drawing board. We will find a solution for that. For example, I found this place. I can hang it underneath my kitchen table. It turns my stove into a place where I can no longer cook, but I can collect my files. Or I found this really cool place to hang it on my pull-up machine so I can remind myself that work is more important than health. But I don't really like any of those ideas. But I do still have these components right here to hang it on the wall. You remember there was those screws and those wall mounts from earlier. All you gotta do is take one of these wall mounts right here, and then you need to find yourself a drill bit that drills to that size, and then you put a hole in your wall and you plug this thing in there and you hammer it in place nice and soft. softly. And then you just insert one of these screws into it, so then you can use that same backing on the back of these things that I'm using to hang it up right now to just hang it onto these screws that are in your wall. It's actually really easy, but I just don't want to put any holes in my wall. But if you did want to do that, you'd roughly get something that would be hanging on your wall looking like this. Obviously, I'm just holding it up against the wall right now. And if you did want to hang it like that yourself, then it would protrude off your wall up to about 6.5 inches away. But I want to reassemble this one, and I'm going to put it on my desk instead. I like when it stands up vertically like this. I think it's just the easier way to go, and it will be easier for me to move it around in the future as opposed to installing it on a wall. And so I'm gonna put that right up here on the top shelf of my stand-up desk that I have, and I'm also gonna decorate that with the trophy I won in the 7th grade for the Knights of Columbia's free throw championship. No big deal. Here's how it looks when I put a bunch of papers and folders in it. And so there you go, doing its job and looking good at the same time. Huh, that's just like me.